situation. So as we speak, the county and national levels are working hard to ensure there's preparedness, but the communities are not prepared. So most of the time you find if there are situations or there are risks around, people will always have serikali tusaidie kind of relation. And it's important that all the mechanisms of preparedness start from the basic level, that is the grassroots, and then it escalates up, so that whenever there is a disaster, the local communities are able to put in place local ways of coping with the disaster even before the other levels exist. Because if you look at it even from the global perspective, yes, governments will always come in when there's a disaster, but that is going to take hours and sometimes even days. So it's important that communities are prepared and ready to deal and cope with disasters before the upper levels intervene. And that will enhance our preparedness at all levels. So in summary, I will say that we need to enhance our preparedness at the local level. We need to put in place legislations that will ensure that issues of disaster risk management is handled prudently, and even the allocations that are provided currently through the existing mechanism need to have utilization frameworks so that they don't end up into misuse or into areas which are not intended. Thank you.
Fred Majiwa from St. John's Ambulance. Distinguished delegates, panelists, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this session, it is important to note that, one, for Kenya to effectively and efficiently manage disaster situations that threaten the country, a whole government and public sector preparedness and response is necessary and vital. Rather than the affected entities acting with the best intention in isolation, taking actions unilaterally, a mechanism is required to coordinate policy and strategic direction on disaster management in Kenya, and more so during the preparedness phase. There is thus an urgent need to streamline disaster risk management in Kenya through a legislative and institutional frameworks that will harmonize the many disaster management silos and strengthen disaster preparedness for effective response and recovery. Two, while we are recognizing their leading regulatory and coordination role, both national and county governments should engage with the relevant stakeholders, including women, children, and the youth, persons with a disability, and even volunteers, including the community practitioners, in the design and implementation of these policies, plans, and standards, because sometimes we do all this without due consideration to the end users. Then three, there is also the need for the public and private sector, including civil society organizations, as well as the academia, scientific, and research institutions, to work more closely together and to create opportunities for collaboration and for businesses to integrate disaster risk management into their management practices. Finally, we must remain true to ourselves, and we must integrate science, technology, and innovation into disaster risk management, having in mind that there is a very serious correlation between disasters and development, in that we may endeavor to develop the country only for disasters to wipe out all those developments. So issues of preparedness are very important for any developing or for any developed nation for sustainability reasons. Now, thank you so much, dear panelists, for sharing your knowledge and experience in this area. A sincere appreciation goes to all the delegates for affording the time to participate in this session. To everyone who made this a success, the KIPPRA leadership, the technical team, my colleagues at NDMU, asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Chair. Dr. Duncan Ocheng from National Disaster Management Unit. And at this particular moment, meant to understand, we are in line with the timing. I'm glad you've finished in time. Thank you very much, sir, for being diligent and conducting your plenary session in a timely manner. We appreciate that. With that said, I'd like to remind us that the conversation is still going online, and I'm checking those who are tweeting on the hashtag KIPPRA Conference 2021. Also, those who have followed KIPPRA Kenya. I think these days social media is very critical when it comes to have public dialogue, especially when you're dealing with matters policy. With that said and done, remember, questions are still streaming online. While you're watching on the online platform, kindly engage. And I've seen some statements. For example, when we had a presentation from Kare, from Gladys Tony, one of the issues that was raised is we still file our own returns. I think some people wamechoka kidogo. So they're saying, how can you utilize, technology, the T, and innovate the I to see that, as much as you're filing online, can you just access the system and let it be easy? Because, right now, a lot of people have been running after that deadline. So those are some of the issues, but keep raising your questions and we'll factor them in. The next plenary session, 6.2, will tackle matters agriculture. We understand when we talk about food security, agriculture is at the center of it. And this particular session will be chaired by Professor Mwangombe. Will be virtual. The technical team can confirm or unconfirm whether she's joined us virtually. And we'll have presentations touching on the role of STA and transformation by a representative from the State Department for Crops Development and Agricultural Research. That being said, at this particular moment, do we have Professor Agnes Wangombe with us virtually? You could just nod. She's not yet there. All right. But in the interest of time, I would like to. I don't want to assume the chairmanship of this particular session. I want to look around and see who could help us to chair this particular session. I don't know, one person I'm very comfortable with looking around is Dr. Linda. Might you be available to step in for Professor Wangombe, who is not with us today? A humble request to chair this particular session. Will be yes, is it possible or impossible? Okay, sawa. So initially we had Professor Ngombe to chair the session. She's supposed to chair us virtually. She's already. Okay, sawa. So I'm being directed by the technical desk, and this is the challenge with virtual systems, yeah? That's why I prefer people showing up. It's good when you're virtual, but for example, if you're supposed to share or present in a session, and your internet decides to take a detour, yeah, it becomes a problem. So hopefully we'll have Professor Agnes Wangombe later on to do that. Right now, let's take a look at a short clip from part of our partners in this particular conference. Take it away, technical.
Agency, in short from Kenya. The simplest way I like to describe innovation is change that adds value. where either we're looking at the way processes were before, products were before, services were before, and so forth, and making sure that in the course of that shift, there is value addition. It becomes less expensive. My name is Tony Mwanza. I am the CEO of Kenya National Innovation Agency, in short from Kenya. The simplest way I like to describe innovation is change that adds value, where either we're looking at the way processes were before, products were before, services were before, and so on and so forth, and making sure that in the course of that shift, there is value addition. It becomes less expensive, or less painful, or faster, and so on and so forth.
My name is Richard Arwa. I'm the Managing Director of CIST East Africa Industry, and our brand product is Pomoto, an ethanol-based renewable energy that is branded and packed as a household cooking fuel. Basically, we are addressing the energy poverty in low-income households. We know that quite a number of people, 400 million people in the whole world, still rely on biomass cooking, and this is very much dangerous for their health.
I'm the current Chief Operations Officer at Affex Limited. Affex Limited is a tech company that brings solutions to problems in the society. Our key product, and the product that's already on the market, is called Apollo. Apollo is an intelligent barrier system for COVID-19 because it detects masks and it checks temperature from a distance. Therefore, it eliminates contact.
Now, when the Global Innovation Index ran saying that the quality of food as a result of the products and services that are going into market. Now, if you move back, some of these ideas are coming from research institutions, some of them are coming from just individuals in the private sector, some of them are coming from academic institutions, others are coming from hubs and so forth. If today you look at solutions, if for example you are moving around and you've got all these mobility solutions, you can get onto an app and kind of move from point A to point B with ease. That is an innovation that is improving the quality of life so that movement now, mobility becomes a little more convenient. And in practice, we have a better national innovation system. We may not have even funded one of them, but the very fact that we can identify them and kind of create connections and create a policy atmosphere that makes it easier for them to function, then that is the joy of Kenya in contributing towards a better innovation system. Or after all we have said and done, if life did not become better for some people because some ideas got into market that either reduced their pain or improved their productivity or performance, then all the conversations we're doing, we are not finishing the journey. Kenya is here to try and support that ultimate goal, improvement of quality of life, because then we will align ourselves to the development goals, we will align ourselves to the Global Innovation Index, we will align ourselves to the Vision 2030. I'm hoping that we can pull together for a better country, that our society and people are happier to live, and we pull as many people as possible into better quality of life, and then we say, we did our job.
I'm Beth Koigi, I'm 28 years old, the CEO of Magic Water. So I was looking at how can you democratize a water source, so you don't have to depend on tap water or any other water source for you to get basic drinking water. This is making use of the water vapor in air, and there are very many ways you can get water from air. You can get dew or harvest dew. You can harvest fog and mist, and you can harvest now the humidity itself. When you're harvesting humidity, you can use also two types of methods. That is the condensation, and the other one is using special kind of materials that have very high affinity for water molecules. So basically, they absorb water vapor in air, and when you heat them up, they release that water. So at the moment, with this machine, we are using the condensation model. You can harvest as much water as possible. What depends is the capacity of the device. Like for example, this device behind me, it's 500 liters per day, but you can harvest, we have devices that can harvest 1,000, and you can custom make them to harvest 100,000. These 500 liters, this is 1.5 million. So the cost is a bit higher at the moment, but the cost will go down as the technology advances. You can use electricity. At the moment we are doing testing here, we are using electricity that is on the grid, but you can use solar energy. You can use a generator depending on what you have. Well, so basically this is where the condensation takes place. So we use the similar compressor refrigerant kind of system, very similar to a fridge. So basically we just condense. It's a different kind of air conditioner or a fridge. So basically we just condense water vapor. So the pollutants may come or the contamination may come from the device itself. But at the end of the whole system, we add filtration system just to make sure that the water is safe for drinking, and especially if it is being used for drinking. And also we add mineralization chamber because basically we just get H2O, which is, distilled water. So we add mineralization just to make it now more better for drinking. Like any new technology getting into the market is not new, convincing people. The first thing we want to do is reduce the overall cost of these devices in such a way that anyone can afford them easily, and also make them, people become more aware that this is actually a water source that people can, consider.
With speed, thank you very much, technical team, for coming through with that particular video from one of our partners regards to what is happening. But as I told you, this plenary session 6.2 on matters agriculture. And at this particular time, I'd like to update our chair from virtual to physical. And Daktari, thank you for accepting the request to chair this particular session. And karibu tafadhali, please. Mpigeni makofi akikuja. Asante sana. Mpigeni mpaka afike. I think that is good exercise, right? It keeps you a little... Okay. Daktari, over to you.
Good morning to you all who tell us those joining. We hope as much as play Dr. Dina, because the lady who spoke from KRA, Madam Kitoni, but time. Madam Kitoni, I don't know how long you're here, and I hope that you'll still be available for those who still want to be able to ask you questions, both physically and online questions come in. And then our chair for the previous session, disaster management, we were sitting there with my colleague, Dr. Dina, asking ourselves, what are the types of disasters? And no sooner are we asking ourselves that question and we're listening to what you're saying, then now you're saying that you've completed. So what am I saying in short? This applies actually to all the presentations that have been made by individuals today, yesterday, and the first day. There's a lot we want to hear from people, and it's the constraint of time. So I'm hoping that KIPPRA will be able to provide a platform for engagement beyond this engagement that we're having here, so that people can be able to get the information they need to be able to apply in their lives. That's the aim of this conference, that you're able to get information that you can apply in your life. So for this session, which is dealing with matters agriculture, I'm sure most of us are farmers. Either you are farming at a professional level or kitchen garden, but all the same, there's a lot that we can be able to gain to enable us to be able to do better at what it is that we do. So without further ado, this session was supposed to